So the title of this video is the most important part of your YouTube video. And the thumbnail looked like this. So can you guess the most important part of your YouTube video is? That's right, it's the thumbnail. And listen, that could sound really bananas cuckoo pants crazy. Like, how in the world is the thumbnail, the thing that I think about last, the thing that I put the least amount of effort into, the thing that is an afterthought? How is that the most important part of your YouTube video, right? I hear you. I get what you're saying, but I need you to flip this around. It's not the thing that you do all of those things and have an afterthought as the most important part of your YouTube video. You are treating it as an afterthought because you don't realize it's the most important part of your YouTube video. BT dubs, I can say this with absolute confidence. I can say this with, like putting my name on the line saying that this is the most important part of your YouTube video because it has been studied, it has been proven, it leads to massive analytics, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I have been paid to deliver speeches on this exact topic. In fact, I'm going to Social Media Marketing World again to speak in February. And guess what my session's about? You guessed it, thumbnails. Come a little closer. Let's talk about why this is so important. You've probably heard about all the different analytics, right? Like watch time and average view duration and click-through rate and all of these things that kind of work together to determine whether a video is going to do well on the YouTube platform or not, right? Well, the very first analytic, the very first one that has to do well before any of those others can do well is your click-through rate. Because if people are not clicking, they cannot then view it to give you average view duration. They cannot then view it to give you watch time. They cannot then view it to give you, likes and comments and engagement. They can't view it to click on your freebie and build your email list. They can't view it to do any of the things that the whole purpose of the video is. So first and foremost, they have to click it. And so I would go as far as to say that click-through rate is the most important analytic because without a high click-through rate, without a good click-through rate, all the other analytics we don't even get to them. They don't even happen because nobody's there to watch the video. And what might you ask leads to a high click-through rate? Your title and your thumbnail. And so I guess I could say that your title and your thumbnail together are the most important part, but we're just gonna focus on the thumbnail for the most part in this video. The title and the thumbnail are the only two factors, that's all, that go into whether or not someone clicks your video. Therefore, they go into whether or not you have a high CTR or not. Therefore, goes into the fact of whether you even get watch time or view duration or whatever, okay? And those two things are so freaking important to get people to click. And if you're like, what do you mean? What is click-through rate? What is CTR? So essentially, YouTube has an analytic called CTR or click-through rate that is literally just the ratio of people who have been exposed to your video, who have seen it on their homepage, suggested, browse features, search, whatever, that have seen your video and have decided to click. So the higher the ratio, the more people who have decided to click after they saw your video, again, on their homepage, their recommended page, their subscription page, their search bar, whatever. And this is the analytic that YouTube uses to say, you know what, this looks like a pretty good video. After we put it out to this initial audience, let's put it out to more people. Let's test more people in this person's audience or in this person's ideal audience to see if they click on it, to get them to come in to watch the video, and then it just kind of snowballs from there. If you think about this logically, the title and the thumbnail can be the only two things that are a factor here. Because the only things that people see when they are choosing to watch your video over someone else's video on their homepage, subscriptions tab, when they search for something, when it's in their suggested videos, the only thing they're seeing is the title and the thumbnail. And guess what? They're absolutely judging a book by its cover or a video by its thumbnail. if you will. And as far as the title goes, it's pretty easy. Now, we have to talk about the title a little bit because we have to pair it with the thumbnail, but a title is pretty easy. What I like to tell people is what is going to put in the correct keywords that are going to tell YouTube and tell your viewers what this video is about. Not necessarily what's going to get you found in search, but like what is YouTube going to then see this video is about from your title and your viewers see that this video is about from your title. Do that and add a little spice. That's your title, okay? So take this video, for instance, where I talk about how much YouTube paid me in 2023. Instead of just saying how much I made from YouTube, 2023. How much YouTube paid me, 2023. I say how much YouTube paid me in 2023. It is not good. Or this one. Instead of saying how to sell digital products or how to create and sell digital products, I say the easiest way to sell digital products, because that's going to get the digital products into the atmosphere to tell YouTube and my viewers that that's what I'm talking about, that that's something they want to watch. And then the easiest way is the little spice. So that is your title, and that's pretty easy. But everybody and their mama and their daddy too get hung up on thumbnails, because everybody treats thumbnails as an afterthought, as something that just happens. I have to do it, so I'm just gonna create it after the video's over. I'm gonna grab a still shot from the camera and I'm going to throw some words on the thumbnail, and that is it. But that it couldn't be further from the right way to do this, honestly. You should literally be planning your thumbnail, what it's gonna look like, what it's gonna say, kind of the vibe of your thumbnail at the same time that you're planning your video. And sometimes before you even record it, you need to have that thumbnail down pat, because that could be the make or break of whether or not someone sees your title because YouTube said this title had the right keywords and we think you'll like it, and showed it to them for whatever the scenario is. And they are now going to see your thumbnail and make that decision. And like I alluded to a second ago, the biggest thing that most people do, and the most incorrect thing you could do, is they will grab a still from the video. So they'll just like grab something, like let's say I was talking with my hands and I like look like this. They'll grab the still, okay, from the video, and then they will reiterate the title, or at least a version of the title, onto the thumbnail. Who taught you that? Who taught you that? Because it ain't right. And I know I didn't teach you that. And listen, I want you, if you leave this video with nothing else sticking up here in the noggin, I want you to leave understanding this one thing. You should not ever, ever, never, ever, 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 ever reiterate the title in the thumbnail. They are seeing your title and your thumbnail together, always. There is never an instance where the title is separate from the thumbnail and vice versa. And I get where this comes from, because I think a lot of people think they need to reiterate the keywords on the thumbnail. Not a thing. And or a lot of people are designing the thumbnail, you know, in a software where they're not seeing the title with it. But you have to just work your brain a little bit and remember that your title and your thumbnail are always seen together. So if you are reiterating your title words on your thumbnail, you are wasting valuable real estate, you are not using the thumbnail in the best possible way, and you are going to not rank your videos as high as someone who's doing it right. So I want you to raise your right hand and solemnly swear that you will never, after watching this video, never repeat your title on your thumbnail. Go ahead and comment below. I'm going to tell you what to do, by the way, but I need you to commit to this first. Go ahead and comment below with "I solemnly swear," okay? I solemnly swear. We are never going to repeat our title in the thumbnail. That's literally the biggest piece of advice that you need to leave this video with. So what shall you do? Let me just tell you. First of all, if you get done watching this video and you need more like examples, you need more things, I do have a masterclass that I did live like last year sometime that is up in my shop that you can buy and watch at your leisure. It's only like 15 bucks and I'll link it below. But this video should get you pretty far too. So that's only if you need a little extra help. Okay, so first thing you need to know, and I've already said it 100 times, your title and your thumbnail are working together. They are BFFs. They are business partners. They have a common goal in mind with different ways to get there. Your title needs to have keywords and needs to have a little bit of spice to make it interesting, but your thumbnail needs to add even more spice to that, okay? So number one, they need to work together to create curiosity or I want to watch ability. Like cause somebody to be like, I gotta watch that, or some kind of curiosity. That's how they're working together, okay? But number two, the thumbnail needs to do a few things on its own because the title doesn't have time to. And the very first thing is that it needs to invoke emotion. It needs to invoke the emotion of the viewer. And it can invoke emotion on a couple different kind of timelines. It can either invoke the emotion of the viewer as they're sitting there right now and they're wanting to watch this video, like how they feel right now before they click the video, how they're gonna feel once they've watched the video. Or the third emotion is a WTF kind of emotion. That is them being like, I don't know what this means, but I've got to know. So let's say that you are someone who teaches parents how to sleep train their babies, okay? Instead of a beautiful baby sleeping on the thumbnail and just the Z's, while that does convey a bit of emotion because hopefully that's what the people watching your videos want, the real goal here is to really invoke emotion. So it might be a picture like this where a mom is like stressed out and she's holding a crying baby and everybody's just like not doing well, right? And that may be all you need to do. You may not need any words on this thumbnail. The picture may speak for itself, especially if the title for this video is something like, can't get your baby to sleep? ? Teach them to sleep through the night tonight. All caps. If the title is something like that, it is spicy enough with words that you don't really need that in the thumbnail. What you need in the thumbnail is to invoke the emotion of how that parent is feeling right now. They have been there, they have done that, they have got the slobber stained, spit upon t-shirt to prove it, right? So that is how you pair the two together. Another example is this video right here. The title is the most important part of your YouTube video. I say nothing about thumbnail, title, keywords, like nothing, okay, in the title. And then on the thumbnail, I say, hint, you're looking at it. That makes you go, huh? What? I've got to know more. That's the WTF emotion. And then if we're going with the how they're going to feel after emotion, you could do something like this. This is a video where clearly the title is do this to create a digital product that sells like crazy. And in the thumbnail, I am just smiling, holding my phone full of notifications and showing a notification that says that I just made a sale of $47. Because that's how they want to feel after they've watched the video. That is your job. Invoke the emotion they're feeling before they watch, invoke the emotion they're gonna feel after they watch, or invoke the WTF, I've got to know more kind of reaction. The third thing that you need to know when creating the perfect thumbnail is that it needs to be the same but different. What is that quote from Sally Hogshead that's like, different is better than better? You need to be the same but different in your YouTube thumbnails. And what I mean by that is, can it hold its weight in the competition for this particular type of video, but stand out enough to cause people to click it versus other people's videos? Okay, so let's just look at these first few results when you type in digital products into the search bar on YouTube. Now, first of all, one of my videos is at the very top, which spectacular, especially because that's a video that I just did 2 weeks ago. But also, guys, it's because I know what I'm doing and this is part of it, okay? So if we ignore my thumbnail and we look at the other 3 thumbnails that we're seeing here, they're all face close to camera, promising something on the thumbnail, colorful, poppy, exciting, right? So how can I make mine the same but different enough to stand out? So I'm also gonna have my face close to the camera. I'm gonna have poppy colors. But for me, I'm just gonna use the word easy and I'm not gonna make any like promises on the screen and clutter it up with too much text. So mine stands out from theirs. Now, I wanna show you what some videos about digital products that are not in the top results are doing with their thumbnails and show you how they are different and not better. And BT dubs, this is not to pick on anyone, okay? Wow, I'm scrolling through these results and there are a shit ton of people doing content about digital products, and they all have decent amounts of views because it is a topic that people on YouTube like right now. But I found one. Okay, so on this guy's thumbnail and in this guy's video, the title is Best Digital Product to Sell Online for Every Creator. That title's not terrible. It could have been better, but we're not here to talk about the title. Let's look at the thumbnail. He has just grabbed a screenshot from his video, like a screen grab, a still from his video. He has not specifically went out and tried to, make this thumbnail on its own or make this thumbnail something that is, better than a still from his video, right? And so his face in the video does not invoke any emotion. He looks like he's in the middle of a word and he's just like talking. There's no emotion to go along with it. There's no anything the face is doing. The face is not adding to the thumbnail at all. And then the title is basically reiterating the thumbnail. While the words on the thumbnail are best digital product, blah, 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 basically the words on the thumbnail are easy digital product. We didn't need that. What we needed from this creator was an excited face, like, oh my gosh, with words all around, or even like emoticons or like whatever all around the video of the types of digital products he's about to talk about. And it's like workbook, this, that, the other, floating around his face. And you can see, if you compare his thumbnail to the top results, why his is not getting the clicks that the other people's are. So you've got to be the same, but better to make sure that your thumbnail is going to stand out above the crowd. The fourth thing here is to use very minimal words. There should be very few words on your thumbnail. Your thumbnail shouldn't have your logo. Your thumbnail shouldn't have like, episode number, whatever, or like the name of your channel. No, the thumbnail's purpose is for that video and that video alone, not to brand your channel. So there should be very, very few words on this thumbnail. It should be easy money or $10,000 per month or sleep tight, something like that, right? To help invoke the emotion, but very, very minimal words. One, because people don't look at that many words on the thumbnail. If there are more than like 4 words, you're going to start losing people and you're going to start not getting the results you want because they're not reading all of those words. But 2, because once you get more than 4 words on a thumbnail, they have to be smaller and they're going to start either taking away from the face or the subject of the thumbnail and or the other words that are there. So very, very minimal words. And just kind of a bonus tip, but it's not only a bonus tip, it's kind of the how to do all of the things we just talked about, how to invoke emotion, how to create curiosity and want people to click with the title and the thumbnail together, how to stand out from the crowd, all of these things. And that is when you're looking at your thumbnail, the subject of the thumbnail, generally your face, the subject's face, like whatever you're trying to do, and the words need to work together to accomplish all of these things. So not only is the thumbnail working with the title, but the words and the face or the subject in the thumbnail are working together to accomplish this goal. And listen, there's a million other things I could say about this. There's a million other examples I could use. There's a million other things we could talk about. Again, I have a training where I went way more in depth. I will link it below. But I do want to leave you with these things that I found in my YouTube studio last night. If you did not know, when you go into your YouTube studio on like the mobile app, and it does it on the desktop too, but I feel like it's more intuitive on the mobile app. But anyway, if you go into the YouTube studio and you go to your analytics tab down here, there are these really cool little tips that are kind of scrolling across the page. And you can see that I've clicked on a lot of them because they're grayed out and they're not the like dark black like this one is, like how to balance your upload schedule. So I was scrolling through this last night and I was like, oh, top tips for thumbnails? I'm talking about that tomorrow. Let's look at those. And do you know what they are? Everything I just friggin' talked about, everything I always talk about, everything I already have ready for my speech at Social Media Marketing World, everything I would have told you before I looked at this. So I'm not just whistling Dixie. YouTube says it too. See, it's telling me which thumbnails are working the best for me. Then it's giving me tips and like showing me my own thumbnails to kind of prove these tips. Like make sure they're clear and easy to read. What did I just tell you? 4 words or less. Minimal words. Easy to read. Okay. Then stand out next to other thumbnails. what did I just tell you? It's gonna be the same, but better. And it actually compiled some thumbnails for me, which is really cool to kind of compare mine to. And I actually think mine stands out quite a bit amongst these thumbnails. And the reason I think that is happening on these thumbnails specifically is because a lot of these thumbnails are using like big white text, and I'm using something with a little bit of color, and it's just like one word, and I'm kind of standing out, okay? Then it says, always remember to find your style. Familiar colors, faces, and fonts help viewers return to your channel. Keep it simple. Bold colors and designs are catchy but too overwhelming. Target your audience. Okay? So I'm not just saying this. YouTube's saying it too. And you might need to up your thumbnail game. So if you're kind of stressed out, wondering why your YouTube channel is not growing, this is kind of part of a series I'm putting together of the things that are really important on YouTube. So like last week, I talked about the fact that you might be boring. Sorry. And then today's is the most important part that most people are not doing. And we'll continue this series with some other tips that'll help you kind of get around these more complex issues when it comes to growing on YouTube. So if you raised your right hand and you solemnly sweared and you put it in the comments, well, if you didn't, go do that now. But if you did, and then if you are going to, or if you want to, make yourself a promise that you are not going to make the same thumbnail mistakes that you've made before, because having good thumbnails is the key to getting people to click on your videos. You got to get them to click before we can talk about anything else.